Yo, 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 it's No Jumper, the coolest podcast in the world, but today is something new. This is the Sports Talk with your boy Big Ski, and we got the legend himself, the Heisman himself, Ricky Williams. Let's go crazy. Let's go. Thank you, brother, for coming through, man. I highly appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
Man, Ricky Williams, bro, the journey.
Yeah.
Tell me about the kid from San Diego.
Well, I'm curious. Like, when did you first know about me or learn about me?
Me?
Yeah.
I probably was like in 8th grade, bro. Yeah, the Saints jersey, the Dolphins jersey, sick with it.
Yeah.
I wore some white on white with your jersey. That was the first time I ever wore white on white.
Yeah.
So 13, 14 years old. I'm 34 now, 20 years ago.
Okay. And then when everything went down with the Dolphins and when I retired early, you must have been 17.
Correct. 16, 17.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you remember that time?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It was the first time I started smoking weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For reals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You made it cool.
For reals?
Yes.
Damn.
You didn't just stand on your word. You sat on it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. I was down. Did a visit to Dr. Green Thumb down in San Diego dispensary last week, and I was driving through the whole neighborhood,
right?
Going to the dispensary, and it just hit me that I started in San Diego, left, went around the world, and now I'm back in LA, not San Diego, but I realized that I took my roots. Growing up in San Diego, I took it around the world.
Right.
And
how was that for you?
It started off like most kids. I grew up especially in our neighborhood where my auntie, she would put us in the car and go pick up dime bags. And my stepdaddy, every day after work, he'd come home, pull out his little yellow tray, roll a couple and smoke. So it was like in the home, it was a natural part of the life. But when I go to school, they tell us
frowned upon.
Exactly. And then when I got into sports, it was even more frowned upon. All the coaches said if you smoke pot, you're a loser.
Right.
And then of course I was trying to be a athlete,
right.
And so I was trying to be good because being an athlete is like two, especially us growing up. It was two parts. One, you got to be good at your sport, but two, you got to be good. Right. You got to stay out of trouble. That's what they say. You got to stay out of trouble.
Yeah. You got to stand out.
Yes, and that meant stay away from drugs.
Right.
Okay. And so I was trying to make it in the sports path, so I stayed away from drugs. And then one day, and I think I was a junior in high school, and I was a big Bob Marley fan, obsessed with Bob Marley.
Sweet.
But I wasn't smoking. I just loved the music and the message. But I was an athlete, so I was on the straight and narrow. Until I was a junior in high school, and Ben Kotnick, the smartest dude in school, Jewish kid. And everyone just assumed that I smoked because it was in San Diego, and I was always wearing Bob Marley stuff. So he invited me to his house at lunch to smoke. And I just went along and pretended like I had done it. Yeah. Oh, God. And then I hit the bong and I coughed my brains out, and then I went back and I had physics. And I remember sitting in physics class thinking, I don't know why people do this. Like, I have no idea what is going on. And then I was like, okay, I've done it, but it wasn't something that I was doing all the time. But if I was around the friends, of course I hit it a couple times, and yeah.
Do you remember what strain it was?
I'm old. So back then, we didn't know. It was probably something he got from his big sister,
the backyard boogie.
Exactly. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah.
Okay.
But he had money, so it was probably something nice.
He's okay.
Yeah. So, but then when I went to college, in mainly in the off season, but when the guys were just hanging out, the upperclassmen in the room, playing cards, shooting dice, they were passing the blunt around,
right.
And so they invited me. I felt like, okay, I'm one of the dudes,
one of the guys,
exactly, and I'm hitting it, and then I just noticed that it was cool. We just were all having a good time, and I didn't think anything of it.
Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's drunk, falling over the place. It's a good blaze.
Exactly.
It's a good high.
And it was at college, so it started to be kind of those things that sometimes if it's around, you enjoy it and everyone has a good time.
Right.
But it wasn't until my senior year in college. I came back from my senior year because I could have left and been a first round pick. Came back from my senior year because I wanted to win the Heisman Trophy. So I put all my eggs in one basket. I said, I'm coming back to do it.
So you guys know the Longhorns. Just so you know, because some viewers might not know where you played and where you got the Heisman at.
Yeah, I went to University of Texas. I came back for my senior year because I wanted to win the Heisman. So season started off kind of rough. You know, I had a couple bad games. Me and my girl broke up. She started dating the quarterback on the team. So I was at this point where I was like, why did I come back for this shit? Like, I was like, you know, I was having these fantasies. I could be, you know, making millions of dollars doing this shit on the law, but I'm here dealing with this bullshit. And I was like having one of those. And I know if you have that kind of attitude, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
And so my roommate, he was a smoker, and he said, he got his bong out, and he said, dude, you need to just chill. And he slid me the bong, and I hit it a couple times. And I wasn't expecting this, but I remember I went up to my room and I laid on the bed and I noticed that I wasn't obsessing about the bad game or I wasn't obsessing about my girl.
Yeah.
I just was feeling good, and then my mind started to think about positive things.
Exactly.
Positive
where you
things.
needed to be.
Exactly.
What you needed to be thinking about.
Exactly.
Wow.
And true
That's
story. Next 2 weeks of that season, back-to-back 300-yard games. Okay?
Do y'all hear this?
300.
Ricky Williams just explained to you what marijuana did for him in a serious moment in his life. Took all of that negativity and it came between positive thoughts.
Yeah, it's real. It's real. It's real. And so that was the first time where I had like a experience where I was like, okay. But still, so I was smoking a little bit more, and I was more interested into it. But it wasn't until after my second year in New Orleans, I broke my ankle. And at the time, one of my old college roommates was living with me, and he was playing on the Saints too. And he was a smoker, and so my homegirl from high school was living in my pool house, and she was a smoker. So it was like every day I would come home from school, and it would just be like, Telly, roll up.
Yeah,
we'd go in the back and just like chill. And again, I wasn't like, I didn't realize what was going on, but I was like letting go of the bullshit from the day, getting my mind right, so I can come back and do it again the next day.
Did that affect you with like your training? Because clearly it didn't. Your work ethics. You feel what I'm saying? But did you ever feel sometime where it was just like, I gotta slow down on Bud when I go play? You feel what I'm saying? Like your performance, it never messed with you?
At the time, I wasn't going that hard. It was just like an after work routine to help get my mind right into go. And then so this was during the season, okay? But so I started smoking during the season, so I had a rhythm. But then after the season, there's always the off season, and you got a lot of free time.
You got a lot of free time.
And so the off season, I ended up getting traded to Miami, and I get to Miami, and there's some. Compared to New Orleans, there's some nice, some.
I was just gonna say that jump from, was some better,
everything. Okay, so I mean, New Orleans is wonderful, but just Miami is a special place. So I'm in Miami, and I'm like training. I just got traded. I got a brand new start in Miami, a really good team. And I'm like getting really focused about my diet, getting really focused about my training, and I'm starting to smoke more. Okay, it's like starting to become a more part of my my routine. Starting to become where I'm actually buying it. Like I'm buying ounces now. Right.
For
the first time, you know, like I'm in. Okay, and then and here,
Ricky Williams is buying the ounce.
but here's what got me though. Here's what got me is when I was in New Orleans, the NFL's drug policy is they test you one time a year, and they test you. And so in New Orleans, they tested us in training camp.
Okay.
We get to training camp, we get that note under our door, we take our test, and we're good for the year.
Okay.
I got traded to Miami, and no one told me because no one knew I was a smoker. So no one told me that they test in the off season. So I got to work one day.
Off season is when it's cracking.
Yes, and so I got to work. So I got to work one day, and dude said, "Okay, you got a drug test today." And I was like, "Damn!" And I kind of knew they got me. And so once they get you on that test, they put you in the program, and you're in the program for 2 years. And for those 2 years, you get drug tested 9 times a month, and you got to go see a therapist once a week.
9 times a month.
Yeah. And
2 years.
And if you travel, you got to tell them where you're going. You got to give them the address. Tell them how long you're going to be there, and they can test you anywhere.
That sounds like a PO.
It's crazy. It is. That's how they. That's how it felt. That's how they treat.
Right. That sounds like a personal PO.
Yeah. And so and so at first I was like, all right, I'll just stop smoking because I was like, whatever, they got me, I'll just stop.
Right.
And then I stopped, and I realized it had become so much of my like self-care routine that it was hard for me to be a football player and not have it in my life because I started popping more pills and doing other stuff. And I said, okay, I got to find a way to figure this out. And so I devised a little scheme, where I found out how much I could smoke and still pass the drug test.
Right.
So I kind of found that sweet spot. You know,
found this balance.
Yeah, I found that sweet spot, and it worked for almost 2 years. I was almost out of the program, and we were playing Philly.
Okay.
We were playing Philly on I think it was Monday night, and we ended up losing in the game, like knocked us out of the playoffs. And so I went out that night and stayed up a little bit too late, and I had a drug test in the morning. And so my little deal was, dude would call me and say, I'm coming to drug test you in the morning. He would get there at 6. I'd wake up at 5. I had this little drink called Extra Clean. I would get up, take my little drink. I'd take my little drink. You know, you take the drink, you wait 15 minutes, and then you take another drink. You wait 15 minutes, you pee, and then your urine is clean for 5 hours. Okay, and I had this system down. Okay, but again, I went out a little bit too long, but I woke up at 5. I took my drink.
Yeah.
Fell back asleep.
Oh my!
Fell
God,
back asleep.
Bro.
Woke up to the doorbell. You know, woke up to the doorbell. I was like, "Damn!" I just said, "I'm about to see." Like I said, I'm about to see. And so I peed in the cup. And the crazy thing is, when it came back, the cutoff at that time in the NFL was 0.15 nanograms per milliliter of THC metabolites, which is really low. They've already raised it to 0.5.
Okay.
But it was really low. And the A bottle, because they make us pee in 2 bottles. The A bottle was like 0.16 and the B bottle was 0.14.
Okay.
So I appealed it because I said if the B bottle was tested, I would have passed.
Right.
You know, so I appealed it.
Sick with it, man.
And they came back from the appeal and they said, let's cut a deal. Okay. They said, if you will stay in the program for 8 more months, then we'll let you out of the program. Okay. And I said no.
I was gonna say,
I said
like,
no.
That's
I said
the
no.
trap, bro.
I said no.
Okay.
I said no. I said I'm gonna make you guys. I said I'm gonna make you guys make a decision.
It's crazy how they always come with a deal.
Yeah. So I said I'm gonna make you guys make a decision. And in the meantime, I kind of had made some epiphanies in my own life.
Okay.
You know, about maybe I have a greater purpose in this world than just playing football.
Right.
And I realized that if I spend my whole life chasing this Hall of Fame or chasing this dream or chasing this money, I'm going to miss opportunity to do what I'm really here for.
Right.
And so I noticed the writing on the wall, and I realized, like, my life purpose, I need to step away from this and find some other kind of purpose in my life. And
Sweet.
And so I ended up failing another drug test, and then I just told the NFL, you don't got to worry about me. I'm out.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Deuces. That was it. So guess what we're going to do to that? Since we was out, we're going to blaze up right now. Go ahead, man. Let's go ahead and run this right quick. Because I got one question I've been, like, dying to ask you, bro. Like, golly. Sheesh. Y'all don't even know, man. The GOAT, Ricky Williams. So, while you was playing on that field, right? Mm-hmm. Give me 3 linebackers you tried to avoid.
Tried to avoid. Okay. Okay. There's only one that I thought about avoiding.
Okay.
But you know, once you get in the game, you can't play if you're going to avoid. But there's one that I'll say this. I was hurt and I was like, thank God I'm not playing today. Okay. And he was good his whole career, but especially young Ray Lewis.
Oh my God! I knew that was coming.
I'm telling you, like I was on the sideline watching the game, and it didn't matter if it was a run play, if it was a pass play. Like he was making it hurt. He was gonna make it hurt. The other 2 best linebackers that I think I played against was Derek Brooks.
Okay.
In that Tampa 2 defense, he just the way he played that position.
Yeah.
I mean, you always knew he was somewhere close to the ball and he was gonna hit you.
Sweet. And
who would the third one be? You know, people are hyped on Brian Urlacher, and he was an athlete, but he doesn't make the list. Mm-hmm. Who else?
Hey, I see some of your footage where you say, yeah, guys were just bouncing off of me sometimes. So yeah, he was one of them guys.
He was one of them. Yeah,
excuse me. Excuse me.
He was one of them. Trying to think who else. So he Teddy Bruschi. He was I wasn't afraid of him, but you knew in that game he was coming.
Okay.
And he was flying over piles. He was coming.
Yeah.
He was you had to pay attention to him.
I appreciate
he was
that
scrappy.
Answering that question, man, because I know the world will want to know that too out of you. So, like, another question I got for you. What would you say was like your most memorable touchdown? Because I know it's a few of them, but which one means the most to you?
You know, from my own personal, like the one that I like to watch now.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, is we were playing Baltimore. We were playing Baltimore.
Excuse me.
And we were putting in a counter, like a misdirection play.
Okay.
And we were in the film room and we were putting the play in, and the coach said, you know, when you run the cutback, they never bring the safety from that back end, so there's not going to be anyone there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we coach. And we got in the game, and I ran a cutback, and I got the ball, and as soon as I got it, I saw that the safety, Ed Reed, was coming. He was coming, and so it was like one of those moments where time slowed down, and I could hear the coach saying the safety's not going to be there, and I could see him, and something told me just spin. And so I got the ball and I came back and Ed was coming right at me and I spun and he just missed.
Yeah.
And I ended up, it was like only a 2-yard or a 1-yard touchdown
but
run.
It was just,
it was just like
knowing he's about to come blow it up right now.
Yeah. And people seen Ed Reed coming and blow up those plays.
That's not even hit stick. That's circle on Madden. Circle. You had to hit him with the circle button.
It's a circle you got to hit early. You know, if you hit it too late, you get like stuck in the back.
Damn! On me, you got to tap that mug smooth. So are you in the gaming?
I play Madden. I do.
You play Madden?
I play Madden. I play little 2K. I play little Battlefield. Yeah.
Sweet. So, with the dreads, did Bob Marley inspire you with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no doubt. Like, you know, I say like my parents didn't work out. My dad left when I was 7, and I say that my first stepfather, my first spiritual teacher was Bob Marley. I would just come home. I would come home after work, of course, throw the book bag down because I wasn't doing homework. Come home after school. Throw the book bag down, put on Bob, sit down and play video games.
Sweet.
That was my meditation.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So tell me about Heisman, bro. I want to know about the Heisman.
Yeah, tell me what you think about it.
Barry Bonds is what I think about. A fucking home run.
Yeah. So you know the motivation behind Heisman obviously is my experience. You know, and I just shared with you part of my experience, but the deeper experience was when it became public that I was retiring and it was attached to me failing a drug test. Like, for a minute, I went to a dark place because at least for me growing up, and I mentioned this earlier, like I was trying to get out. And the story that I saw in the community is what kept people from getting out, or at least the story they said was drugs.
Right.
And so for me to be like a version of that story of someone who threw everything away or lost everything for drugs, I was like, is that really what's going on? That's what everybody was saying. So I had to look in the mirror and say, is that? And I said, no, there's something else. Yeah. There's something else going on. And I'm glad I had that moment and I kept going. And so I became curious about, you know, because, you know, my mom, you know, she was like, son, like you had all this stuff and you threw it away for weed. Like, what is wrong with you? You know, and I was like, what do you mean? You know, and so again, I went on this mission to say, okay, like I did do that. Kind of. And so I was curious about what is this about. So I said, there must be something about this plant that they are lying to us about.
Okay.
And so I went on my journey and I started traveling around the world. Okay. And I kind of was thinking I'm trying to get away from this stuff.
Right.
You know, but I was traveling around the world and
Where'd
everywhere.
you travel to?
I went to first place I went to was Fiji. Okay. Fiji, exactly. I had a friend of mine.
Wow.
I had a friend of mine. She said I'm about to go on this trip, and in America, everything I was watching on the news, people were just talking shit about me. So I was like, let me go with you.
Yeah.
You know, because I realized,
Let me get away.
Let me get away.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom said go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. So I said I'm gonna go somewhere where people like. And it happened. I started traveling, and people would come up to me, not knowing who I was.
Right.
Just surprised to see someone like me traveling. And without looking for it, people would just walk up to me and say, hey, do you smoke? And so I started having these amazing experiences all around the world. And I was trying to get away from it. So I was like, okay, this is following me. I need to do some research here. So I started to like try to read everything I could about cannabis. And I couldn't find very much at all back then. And at the same time, I started to get interested in like taking care of my body, like alternative ways of taking care of my body. So I found meditation, I found yoga, I found something called Ayurveda. It's Indian medicine, ancient Indian medicine. And I started studying this, and I found this book, and they had a whole chapter on cannabis. And that's when it all started. I was like, okay.
Wait, in this moment, you sound like you're being reborn, bro.
I was.
Okay, keep going. Keep this book.
I mean,
that's fire, bro.
It's funny because the other part of the experience is I grew up very Christian, very Christian.
Okay.
And but I kind of moved away from it. And when I retired, I just got this like obsession almost with trying to learn everything I can about Jesus. I started reading it was this like reborn kind of rebirth of my spirituality, and I attribute it to cannabis. It really opened my mind and started helping me make connections to things. And football was great and all that stuff was great, but I felt like it was meaningless. And as I left and started to explore all these other things, I started to find more meaning. And that's when I started to study astrology and really learn about myself and realize I'm not just here to make money, right?
Okay.
I'm not just that I have some kind of larger purpose. And pursuing that larger purpose became more interesting to me than sports.
Right.
And so I started to be able to recognize that feel of what it feels like when I'm on my path. And I just, wherever it took me, I just said I committed to that.
You trust the process.
I trust
early.
the process. Exactly.
Early.
Because I had to. You know, I gave up everything. And I gave up everything. I did exactly what everyone told me I was not supposed to do. And when I did it, I found out I was happier.
Right.
And that was like shocking to me at first.
Yeah.
But then it changed my whole definition of like my friends and family. I said, to me, my definitions of friends and family are the people that are happy, that I'm happy, no matter what it looks like.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be like, man, because, and look how you came out, bro. You came out sharper, wiser. You know what I'm saying? Your body, I mean, come on now.
That's real.
Come on now. Can't get no better than that. We really appreciate you here, man. The real legend, bro.
So that's what Heisman's about. It's about telling a different story. And I say, yeah, I won the Heisman Trophy. I had a lot of success. A lot of success. And my greatest success is the things that I'm doing now.
Right.
And I say Heisman's not about a trophy. It's about getting a high.
That's exactly what it's doing.
But keep going. Keep going.
Bro,
You know?
that's why I keep lighting.
Yes.
I'm trying to keep going.
Keep going.
Barry Bonds, bro. How do you make this?
Yeah.
I need to learn how to make some stuff like this, bro. Goodness.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, bro?
I know people.
You want me to tell you something? You started like a trend, too. I want to tell you something. You started a trend with the visor.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, bro. With the dreads coming out and the visor, it was just like you were fucking, like, mysterious, bro. It was so much power. Like, how does that feel knowing y'all can't fuck with me?
You know, here's what it is, though, because it's what I love about football. And I don't think enough people really appreciate this. You know, I think of the play, one of my favorite plays, my second favorite touchdown. Okay? This is my favorite college touchdown.
Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's home run leader.
All right. Let me sit that down.
Covey Bay.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah. So.
God, dog. Look, he had to sit back and smile. I'm telling you, man, the more I'm sitting here, I'm like, it tastes so good. I just can't stop. But all right.
Is this the Skittles word?
That is. Yep, that's the Skittles word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so my favorite touchdown run, 60-yard touchdown run against Texas A&M to break the record for the most rushing yards ever in college football history.
Okay.
And I did it on a 60-yard run, and like that, it's the epitome of why I love football. Okay, because my job as a running back is to take the ball, and then the coach always says we can block 10 of them, but we're gonna leave one for you. Okay. So we run the lead play. The line does their good job. There's a hole. Fullback comes in, does a good job, gets the linebacker. Okay. The receiver comes back, cracks on the safety, leaves me the corner. Okay. Corner comes, I do my job. Everyone's doing their job, right? I do my job, give the corner the shoulder. He bounces off, and I'm up the sideline. Okay. There's safety. Okay. Fastest kid on their team is running to make the play.
Okay.
My receiver from the other side of the field, hustling. Right, runs across, knocks the safety out of the way, and lets me get into the end zone. Okay, so for that play to work, I get all the glory. Okay, but everyone had to do their job.
Yeah.
And football is the ultimate team sport, and for one player to excel, it requires everyone being on the same page.
Sacrifice.
Yes, but there's it's cooperation, and yes, in order to cooperate, you have to sacrifice your own personal needs to be like connected to what is the group want. And to me, like that cooperation and everyone understanding what I have to offer, and we all like show up and we all come together and to accomplish one thing. That's what I love.
I can relate, man. I play tight end.
Yeah.
So I had to make them blocks sometime.
Yes.
You feel what I'm saying?
But sometimes it feels even better when, even though you don't get you know that you had to make that block to spring the play.
Bro, when I would see our running back Will number 2 just touchdown,
Yes.
and it would make me feel like,
Yeah.
I fucking smacked this fucking dude. They don't even know I play basketball. I got a visor on like fucking Ricky Williams. They don't know I'm smiling the whole time because I'm a big, nice, cool gangster. They don't know. You feel what I'm saying? And it's just like, fuck, man. You made that shit look so fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to like wrap this up. And I'm not going to wrap this up because I want to know about the astrology, fam, because I want to get put onto astrology.
Yeah. So what do you know so far about astrology?
I know so far that your peoples hit me up and asked me what was my birthday because they said, I was like, damn, cuz about to do a background check on me. I'm really from the hood, bro. Ricky Williams, they got to check bait me. What's the big old deal? So I sent it though, 2/20/87. You know what I mean? I was born 2:23 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm with that.
Yeah.
You know, what's the date? We in February, it's the 2s, right? We here, and I'm sitting in Adam 22 chair right now. So, you know.
But I'm sure you talked to somebody, probably a
Hell
chick about
no.
astrology. No chick ever said like you're at Aquarius
Bro, I'm
or
from
you're
Compton where astrology is not even a thought.
Wow.
I thought about it because of you. I'm doing homework on Ricky Williams. They talking about astrology. I need to know about it. I want to know from you. The horse's mouth, man. Because I know if I get it from a girl, she going to give me the wrong shit.
It's true. It's real. Like you said, it's real. It's real. So the best way to explain what astrology is, especially to a dude, is like a game plan. You know how like when you are playing any sport, right? You learn the plays, and then if you know the plays, you learn the plays, and then you have to execute the plays.
Okay.
Right? And if you do that, you win typically. And so I think in life, if we, coming back to what I said about football in life, if we understand, first of all, like what we're good at, right?
Okay.
Because imagine if you're trying to play any game, you're trying to play football and you don't know what, like that first day of Pop Warner, right? Where everyone runs out and everyone's like, they don't know much about football. And the coach does all the drills to see, okay, who are the fast kids, who are the quick kids, who can catch, who can throw, okay? So the first thing is we got to know what we're good at. Right.
Okay.
Otherwise, how do we know how we're going to contribute to the team? And the next stage is we got to like practice and become better at what we're good at.
Okay.
And then we got to learn the plan, the scheme of how does everyone fit, and then we got to go do our job. So astrology helps us understand, like, first of all, like, what are we good at? What are our skills and our talents, and it can help us learn how to hone those skills and abilities, and then it'll help us find our place where we fit, and then we can show up and execute the game plan. But because, Martin Luther King said it best. He said there's two sets of laws. He says there's God's laws and there's man's laws.
Okay.
Right? And he says my mission is to help bring those two things closer together. And once we're born, we're as soon as we're born, like man's laws are put on us, like our parents, from society,
given down.
And sometimes if we don't have some kind of spiritual connection, we actually forget about God's laws.
God's law.
Yeah.
And we start veering off into man's law more.
Exactly. And sometimes we veer off into man's law thinking we're doing the right thing because that's what we've been taught. Okay? Because especially for us, the man is not for us. So astrology, the best way to say it, astrology puts us in contact with God's laws and God's plan for us. Okay? And sometimes, and we all need a reminder sometimes. And it's not like we need astrology because some of us just we figure out we're like me, right? I figured out the hard way that, man's law for me was to use all of my genius and my brilliance to run for football yards and make other people money. Okay? That's their plan. God's plan for me is something a little bit different. Okay? And it took me a while to figure it out, but I did. And it's funny, that's what drew me to astrology. I met this woman who was an astrologer, and I gave her my information, and we started having a conversation. And she didn't know me from Jack, right? And she basically told the story. She said, you're going to be tempted to move in one direction, but your true path is more towards a healer and a teacher. And that's how I was feeling, but I felt like everyone I would talk to people about that, they would say, no, shut up and dribble.
Yeah. Go run this touchdown.
Exactly. And so to have that inner God's plan reinforced by someone else, I was off. That's all I needed. I just needed one more person to acknowledge that voice inside of my head was not crazy. One person.
I'm shook.
Yeah.
You about to have me into astrology, man.
Yeah.
Like for real, because what I get from it is just like taking a leap out on faith.
Yeah.
Like
It teaches you how to have, because people say faith, but how do we validate faith? To me, astrology allows me to validate faith. I say, okay, this is what I believe in, and I can see like what happened, right? What happened, and so it's not just blind faith; it's faith that we can validate.
Sweet. Last but not least, does it like ever come to mind that the Heisman Trophy is a running back running the ball?
Well, kind of back then, everybody was a running back.
Okay.
The quarterback was a running back,
Okay.
and the receivers were blockers.
Okay.
But here's the way I look at it. Because to me, if it's about the Heisman Trophy, okay, only one person gets the Heisman Trophy. But to me, what it represents is excellence. Excellence, right? There's an association with greatness, and to me, everyone can be great if they know that like their role, their role. And for me, I thought my role was this, but it was actually something different. And that's really the message behind Heisman, is that it's my version of Martin Luther King Jr.'s message of there's two laws, right? And what I found is when I started using cannabis, it helped me connect to God's laws and not pay so much attention to the other ones.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I appreciate you,
Yes,
Ricky, man.
of course.
How'd you like the interview?
This was wonderful, man.
For sure. Part 2 coming soon?
Yeah, of course. We got.
Hell yeah.
Part 2 will be all astrology. How about that?
I'm with that.
Part 2, I'll just break down your whole chart for you.
Hell yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with that, man.
Yeah.
No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. This was the motherfucking first episode of Sports Talk with your boy Big Ski. Banger, Ricky Williams in the building, and we out this bitch.